Hello, hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video that I did not really expect to make. I did not know that the ancient Pogo was that near, or this close, but nonetheless, here we are. The portal is alight with the blue hue, and we do have a Pogo event going on right now. Pull one, get one, for those who don't know, for ancient shards, and we are, of course, participating in this one. The main reason being, of course, that we have tracked our Mercy with my Mercy tracker. You can see it on the screen here. Link in the description box down below if you'd like a copy of this for yourself. But I am within the threshold of where I like to be, which is essentially 120 plus ancients pulled without a legendary, meaning that we have upwards a maximum of 100 ancients to guarantee ourselves 2 legendaries, which is a 1 in 50 return, i.e. really worth it in my book. So we are in that golden zone here, just past the golden zone. And so that means it's the perfect time to participate in a Pogo event. Now, I did have an opportunity to try and proc Mercy during the Fusion Summon Rush a few days ago, because there was a progressive chance events over the weekend for my third most wanted non-void legendary, that being Elva Autumnborn. And so I actually considered pulling Ancients because I think it was a 50% boosted or 100% boosted, whatever, something like that. Ancient Shards were boosted in that, and I think it would have cost around 87 Ancients to get it, i.e. most likely, as we just saw with my Mercy, I would be into Mercy with that amount of shards, and most likely I would get a legendary along the way, and then I'd roll on the 5% chance or 7% chance, whatever it is, to get the Elva. But I felt that's a better chance to get Elva, in fairness, mathematically speaking, than just rolling across the entire pool of non-void legendaries. But it just didn't feel worth it to burn 80 ancients, proc Mercy, and then just get 1 legendary when I knew that if I waited some amount of time that I would get 2 legendaries instead, which does mean that it will be harder to get whichever legendaries I'm looking for in particular. However, we'll just get 2 for the price of 1, and that just feels like a better deal overall. Plus, let's be honest, 7% chance is very low. It's higher than the 1.1% chance or whatever it is to get 1 random legendary, but nonetheless, it is not a guarantee of a result. So in this case, there is no event going on right now. This is the middle of the week. I guess it's Siege week, so that's going on, but there's no CVC, there's no anything else, there's no bonus event, so we can hop straight into the portal and talk about the overall shard count, my account at the moment. 628 on Ancients, of course, we'll be dipping into that today for the Pogo event. 226 on the Voids, 55 on the Primals, and then 48 on the Sacreds. In terms of who we're looking for from this Pogo event, as is tradition around here, I list my top 5 non-void legendaries because we're going to get 2, or guaranteed to get 2, because we're going all the way out until we get a legendary or we proc Mercy. So number 1 would be Xavier or Eleanor Rill, a Poison Exploder champion. Number 2 would be Molly Tankard. Number 3, Elva Autumnborn, already mentioned her. Number 4 would be Duchess Lilitu, and number 5 would be Martyr. Now, this event is going to be during the base rates, meaning that we have a much lower chance to get epics, but of course, if we happen to get some useful duplicate epics for empowerment along the way, I will not be complaining. However, I do expect to see a significant amount of rares. So without further ado, let's get into the pools. We've got just enough space, we've got a decent amount of cash, and we don't really need any luck in terms of getting legendary, but we do want luck in terms of the quality of the legendary that we will pull here eventually. I mean, I guess luck could be having it pop out sooner rather than later, but we are prepared to go all the way out 100 shards all the way to Mercy if need be. Neldor Rhineblain, really good hard mode Fire Knight champion. He has a triple hitter on the A1 that has a chance to freeze, kind of like Cryoden's ability, but his passive synergizes well with other freeze champions like Newt or Cryoden, and he can join in on their attack to throw his A1 into the mix, which can place more freezes out there, which is fantastic for, again, hard mode Fire Knight. All blues, you hate to see it, but again, that's to be expected. We are utilizing the base rates in terms of the epics and legendaries for these. There is no 2x going on right now. Double epic, though. Hey, we'll take that. Zargala, that's the old school orc debuffer. I think mine is +4, but maybe I can shift around faction guardians. If not, this will just be a food champion. And then another debuffer for the demon spawn in this case is Gorlos Helmal. So that will definitely be empowerment, I believe, for him. Maybe +1, maybe +2, somewhere around there. I don't think he's that high in terms of the epics that I happen to have pulled duplicates for. Next, 10 pop is all blue. You hate to see it, but again, that is to be expected. We're probably going to see that a couple more times, just given that we're pulling during the base rates. Burgoth, the Malformed. This is the worst version of Vogoth. This will be a food champion for sure. I don't know why, they released him first and then they released Vogoth, who's just 10 times better. And yeah, that guy Brogoth just never sees any play, just because anywhere you want to use him, you would just use a Vogoth. Templar, a notable rare there. That's another Relic Keeper banked for the future, which could be useful in a future champion chase. Maybe this weekend, this upcoming champ chase. We'll see if I can build them up prior to that. Another 10 rares. You hate to see it. I have not really been paying that much attention, but I think we have pulled 7 or 8 10 pops. So at some point, actually, we can just check here. We pulled 70 shards. Okay. So with this 10 pop here, we are going to be the last 2, I guess, the last 3 or 2 are going to be hot shards, meaning that we are going to be start building up towards the Mercy proc at 220 ancients without a legendary. So if we don't get it, no, we did get it here right at the very end, and it is a double duplicate summons, and you hate to see it. So we got Deliana, which was a free champion they gave out maybe 2-3 years ago now. But what does she have? I think AoE block buffs, and then she can debuff spread, decrease resistance on people who have block buffs, and then AoE on the A1 that can place leech. She used to be kind of decent for Hydra when she first came out, but I think there's a lot of other champions that have kind of come and that are just better at her job, and so she kind of fell by the wayside. But nonetheless, if you're kind of, in the early game, you happen to pull her, she could definitely get you going. She can be in a cursed set, a provoke set, or whatever you might need for your beginning Hydra team. You get leech on pretty much unlock. You get block buffs, which is useful, granted on a 4-turn cooldown, and you can kind of just turn off the A2 and just spam the leech and spam the block buffs when you get that. And then Cleopteryx, a daily login reward champion after Visix, one of the champions. I forget where she is in the exact order, but she's a decent Spirit Affinity nuker, but she's kind of hard to make use of because she benefits from Hex being out there, but she also places it herself, but it's not on the abilities where you kind of want to have Hex. So it's a little bit of counter synergy here. But example being, like this one, she can place Fear if they're not under Hex, but she places Hex to increase accuracy on herself. And then here she can place block active skills if they're under Hex, but you kind of want to, block active skills is really strong for control, so you kind of want her to have, you kind of want Hex to be out there already, but then you're not really going to make use of this ability. So I don't know, so a little bit of weird counter synergy there within her own abilities, but nonetheless she can bring her own Hex. She can bring block active skills if she takes 2 turns, and yeah, the passive is not that great, but obviously everyone has her guaranteed just by playing long enough, so I'm one of those people. But that will be faction guardian slots for high elves and skinwalkers. And in fact, is that 10 speed for Arbiter? Is this actually a big deal? Hold on here. It's either 8 or 10 for the faction guardians for high elves. I think it's 8. It's 8 out of 10. But hey, we made progress. We'll take it. So we're that much closer. We're one step closer towards 10 speed for Arbiter. We'll take that. So Deliana gets put in there. And then what was the other one? Skinwalkers. We'll take that. That's a lot of accuracy. Hey, we'll take it. Accuracy and resistance across the board. So high elves, what did we get? We got defense. I guess defense is kind of useful across the board. I mean, everyone's a bit more tanky. I don't know if anyone who like specifically benefits, like Thoran's a little bit more tanky, Lanatharil's more tanky, Arbiter is a bit more tanky. I guess more damage for Lysanther, but I don't really use him. Nothing crazy there, just the defense. The speed is what we really want. But in terms of the accuracy for the Skinwalkers, doesn't really help. I guess, no, it helps Mighty Uko. It helps Nishak. That's good for him, actually. Good for more accuracy, 30 more accuracy to place bombs is really good. Ragosh built him for the Cursed City. That's good for him. Samson, good for him. Cursed City, Cleopteryx. I technically do use her in Bommel, just for the A1 weekend, basically, to kind of enable the bomb, like the one-shot bomb comp. However, I do use her also for the waves, because she's, like I said, a nuker, so she can kind of nuke the waves. But she has enough accuracy for that fight, so it's not going to make that big of a difference. But nonetheless, hey, more stats. Maybe we can go a little bit more on, or index more into damage and a little bit less onto accuracy. But okay, that is going to do it for today's session here. So I guess medium luck. We got 2 faction guardians. Nothing off the wish list, that's for sure, unfortunately. But 2 old legendaries, 2 duplicate legendaries is going to be the outcome for today. Let me know in the comment section down below if you were participating in this Ancient Pogo event. I do know that these are fairly popular just because Ancient Shards are probably, or is definitely the most abundant major shard type in the game, and a lot of people do like to shoot their shot and see if they can get lucky during these. Hopefully your luck was at least as decent as mine, if not better than mine. And as always, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit that like button down below. It really does help out the channel, and feel free to hit the subscribe button down below as well if you are enjoying the content overall on this channel. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.